Malala, great to meet you. I want to start with the outside and the cover of this book. I love that this is almost like a physical representation of what you're trying to say. We have this image of you on the outside that everyone would instantly recognize, but you literally have to open the book to see the real you. Before you even read a word, there's all these amazing photographs of you. Your head isn't covered. You've got this beautiful, like long locks. You're laughing, you're goofing around with your friends, hanging out in trees. I was curious though, why choose this photo for the cover and not one of those from inside?
Oh, I mean, those are from the college days. And of course, some of those photos are also silly. So I thought for the cover photo, I should work on myself a bit, put some makeup on and look at the camera. But yeah, the inside photos are like for my supporters and readers. I hope they get a sneak peek into my college life. Yeah.
Well, you give more than a sneak peek when you start reading into the book. We find out, a couple of your school experiences. First of all, there's you in high school, and this takes place after the shooting. You're in England attending class. The world knows who you are, but you talk about being so lonely. Not that people were mean, you were just alone. And then you jump to university. You're at Oxford, and you're doing normal university things. You're joining clubs, you're taking exams. But you also pair it with this experience of having security guards tail you around and you're meeting world leaders. And then you go to the Oxford Union, your face is on the banner as one of the speakers. And you describe the feeling of being embarrassed. Why were you embarrassed?
I wanted to introduce myself as any other student. So I did not want anybody to bring up anything about my work outside, Nobel Peace Prize, the attack, none of that. And I had just made a friend, Cora. We were walking around and finding these different clubs and societies we could sign up for. I wanted to sign up for the Oxford Union, of course. And then when I saw my face, I thought, I just wanted to disappear. When you feel that, when people see that, they'll recognize you. And then there were like some students who recognized me, and then they started asking for photos. And of course, like it's a huge, huge honor to be recognized by people and supported by people. But in college, I just wanted to be like everybody else. And yeah, I just wanted to make friends.
You just go into this book describing what it's like to be both this heroic global figure and this, as you describe it, this imperfect young woman. I have this great story in there about how you used to secretly watch John Cena and then wrestle with your brothers, which is a side of you I don't think a lot of people would know. How do you balance that being a global figure and just being somebody who wants to be multifaceted, goofy, imperfect?
I think this is exactly what I'm sharing in this book. It took me such a long time to actually embrace myself for who I am. Of course, I missed my childhood because of what was happening in the north of Pakistan, in my hometown, when the Taliban took over. I became an activist at age 11. I was attacked at age 15, and I had to move to a different country and take on this global activism for girls' education. And I realized that the headlines I was seeing or the reception I was receiving made me into this saint-like figure who was supposed to live a life that were to meet everybody's expectations. So I thought not having friends or not feeling loved is a part of that. I was somehow internalizing it at school in this new country in the UK. I was very alone, and by the end of it, I had only made like one best friend, and that was also by chance. So at college, I thought I will be a new student just like everybody else, and maybe this is an opportunity where I can see a bit of my younger self, and I can maybe relive my childhood. And I was so grateful that I found the right people who gave me that space of comfort. And I prioritized socializing over studying, but it was all truly worth it. And there are some, experiences that I am sharing with my readers, places where I got into trouble as well, or, nearly saved myself, climbing rooftops, to getting ghosted by my first crush, to nearly failing my exams. Yeah, so this was all a part of me, and I wanted to be honest in what my college life was really like.
You do a great job of sharing all of those stories, Malala. There are people who would say you're either too political or that you're not political enough. Where do you land now on your this sense of obligation to say anything at all?
I have been an activist for such a long time. um, and I actually have a vision. There's a change that I want to see happen in my lifetime, and that is every girl with the right to an education, that no girl is left behind. So I started a foundation, Malala Fund, that is committed to that. I am doing advocacy for that. I'm supporting local organizations in countries like Pakistan, Nigeria, Afghanistan, Ethiopia to make that change happen. We have supported more than 400 activists, and this is the work that I want to continue. But at the same time, I know that there are lots of political issues. A lot is happening in the world that is heartbreaking, like truly heartbreaking. But I am not useful in expressing a political opinion. Where I can be most useful is when I bring the voices of girls forward and when I support activists. So this is exactly what I do. I bring attention to girls' education, to their stories, whether what's happening in Afghanistan, where girls are living under the Taliban's oppressive regime of a gender apartheid and they're banned from learning, or girls in Gaza whose schools have been bombed. I recently went to Egypt and met Palestinian refugees. I met with the girls and their stories were heartbreaking, but they need our support and solidarity. So my focus is bringing attention to girls' education, their stories and their voices.
People globally would associate you with education, but you write in your book that you're actually a decent athlete. That's your word, not mine. Golf is your sport. You love pad thai. You love binge watching Love is Blind. That was a shocker. And you're very funny. You have a really wonderful sense of humor. What do you think people will be surprised to learn about you?
Oh, I am adventurous, and I think because of now my husband's role in my life, a lot has changed. I have become more active in sports, and if anybody had asked me what my favorite thing to do was 3 years ago, I would have just said sitting. I love to take rest and sit down, but now I have allowed myself to experience new things. I'm playing new sports. I'm watching women's sports. That's something that I'm really passionate about, and I know that Canada is also very passionate about women's sports as well, from like ice hockey to basketball. And I think through sports we can promote gender equity and create more opportunities for girls to have a career in this field and to have this equal right to play.
You've been very active on social media, and the couple of things that I was surprised to learn about you. One is that you have this obsession and love for pens, which we share. Like, you take them from hotels. I took this from the JW Marriott. I also collect and love pens. What are you using right now? What did you just
Pens,
hold
I
up?
mean, pens are everywhere. This hotel, I mean, I'm staying at the hotel. I collected pens. Of course, you have to collect pens. Leave
And
no pen behind. Yeah.
also that your friends call you Mals, which I thought was funny when the world knows you as iconically as Malala, and your friends call you Mals. What are some other nicknames that you have?
I mean, my friend's attention span is very, very short. So they said Malala is too long. Mals is enough. My dad has always called me Jani, which means my beloved. And my mom has called me Pisho, which means a cat. And my husband keeps calling me a different name every time, but that's his way of expressing his love.
As a national morning show host, I appreciated you sharing your thought process and what you go into thinking about these interviews. And in some cases, you realized very early on that some journalists wanted to, I guess, bait you into making comments, something that would be newsworthy or clip-worthy. You write, I knew how to avoid having my name plastered across headlines, and I didn't take the bait. You had that insight very early on, and I'm curious, what's your relationship with the media like today?
I mean, I'm really enjoying this interview. So
Good.
I think this is something that I have experienced for such a long time. So I have been open in sharing my experiences. I was still a school student. I was thinking about what my college life would look like, and then getting asked these heavy questions, or when people want you to say it a specific way. But I work my way around it, and I still carry that experience with me. There's not much I can do about how people ask these questions, but and there are like amazing and kind people as well, but I focus on what I want to bring attention to.
Your husband, Asser, pops up a lot in these pages, as he does on your social media. And you write about the story behind posting that beautiful wedding portrait. It's a picture of you and Asser, and he's kissing your hand. And you saw it and you loved it. And then you said, your mother said you cannot use this. Why was she against the photo? And why did you share it?
Yeah, like we come from the north of Pakistan. Our part of the country is reserved and conservative. And my mom, cares not just about the culture, but she has seen how women and girls were punished for breaking any of these rules. She had stories of women being beaten up or killed in the name of honor. So I think for her, it was that fear about my reputation and how it would like affect us. So I think these were all her lived experiences. So she always had the best intention at heart, but sometimes when she would argue with me, it would be that classic mom and daughter argument dynamic. So it's really hard to argue with my mom. I can go on any global stage and debate about any issue, but I could never debate with my mom. But my husband stepped forward and he talked to my parents and he said, we should be allowed to share photos in which we are expressing love for each other, and there's nothing wrong with kissing your wife's hand. And in fact, we should make it more normal for people to be loving each other. Like that's the whole point of marriage.
Yeah, good,
Yeah, so in
good.
the end, she was okay in the end.
What's your relationship with your mom like now? You sprinkle these anecdotes about you hiding more modern clothes from your mom as you're packing for university. I mean, I know that. And then you have this one scene in there where your mom has come into one of the bedrooms in your home and completely redecorated it.
Yeah.
But you sound like you're also very close with her. So what's your relationship like with her now that you're in your late 20s?
My mom never went to school, and she has lived a life without an education, but she has been a strong supporter of both me and my dad in our work. And when she moved to the UK, that's when she found it really challenging to communicate with people in English or even book an appointment for herself. She was dependent on other family members. Then she started taking English classes. She's been learning for the past 7, 8 years. And I am so proud of her when I see her do her homework with so much passion. And I have never seen a student like her who loves homework. So I'm really proud of my mom for everything that she does. And I think we have had the daughter mother relationship in the past. Um, and I always would get into like arguments with my mom. I was more of a father's daughter, and I wanted to be like my dad because I thought he is such an amazing supportive father. But as I got older, I started reflecting on the journey my mom has had. And especially when I was considering marriage,
Yeah.
I looked towards my mom and wondered, how did she decide to trust a man and move to a different place and restart a new life? So in a patriarchal society, a marriage is such a big decision for women. And I remember her saying that for her, in her context, marriage was actually a way towards safety, that the husband's family would maybe treat her better than the way she's like treated at the father's family, where opportunities are so limited. Yeah, so her, she loves shopping, she loves trying new things, she loves learning English, and she's very funny. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
something like that. I call it work in progress.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
find that a really beautiful image that, you have fought for the education of young girls and now your mom herself has become a student. That's really neat, Malala. Last question to you. You write in the book a couple times about panic attacks that you experienced.
Mm.
The first one when you took a hit of a bomb at university and it brought back the shooting by the Taliban. And then another time when you're with your husband in a hotel room, you'd
Yeah.
gone to bed happy, you woke up, he had to call the paramedics. You were shaking so uncontrollably. I'm wondering, in this world of 24-hour news where you can't avoid mention of Afghanistan, of Pakistan, of the Taliban, do you still experience those panic attacks? And if so, how do you manage them and how do you manage your mental peace?
When I had the first time flashbacks of the attack, I was completely shocked by what I saw, because this was triggered by this Bong incident. And in that moment, I froze and I thought I was reliving the Taliban attack experience. I thought I had forgotten the incident. I thought I did not remember anything, but it felt in that moment that I had buried that memory somewhere deep down, and it just got triggered and reappeared. I have had many panic attacks after that. And I started seeing a therapist, and I was told that I have PTSD and anxiety. And that is something that I am constantly working on. I do feel grateful that I'm in a much better place. But I think the most important lesson for me is to ask for help. I wish I had received therapy early on. When I was getting treatment in the hospital in the UK, I got all my surgeries and everything else. And when we were offered therapy, I rolled my eyes, and we sort of refused it because we didn't see the significance of it. As you would know, that therapy and mental health are such a taboo topic in so many communities. But I think, I'm sharing my story because I know there might be somebody out there who might be hesitant in considering it. I want to tell them that I felt exactly the same. I went through those feelings, but I'm so glad that I listened to my friends and I took their advice and I got mental health support and I started getting therapy. If you are thinking about it, don't give it a try, and always ask for help when you need it.
Malala, thank you so much for your conversation today. You write about how you felt like your first part of your life was almost written for you. You are now writing this next chapter of your life. How do you want people to experience you now?
I mean, I am just I'm a whole character. I have a lot more to my life. Of course, I am an activist, and I want us to make a difference for girls. Every girl deserves the chance to be in school. No girl should be left behind. But I am also using all these other opportunities like storytelling and sports to make uh, a real difference for girls. And at the same time, I'm just a person. I have two brothers, so I'm the normal elder sister. Um, I've been listening to Taylor Swift's songs about the eldest daughter, so I'm like, I can fully relate to that.
Yeah.
And I love playing sports. I love going to the gym. I love weightlifting, and I'm funny. So I hope people enjoy all of that being reflected in the book.
Listen, Malala, I don't share your love of Love is Blind, but I do share your love of pen. So from one pen lover to another, have a great morning.
Thank you.